Welcome to May. Let's start with that, J Dog. May 1st, here we go. Nice day out there for it to start. And welcome to May, buddy. Hey, good morning, New Hampshire. Good morning up into Maine, WTSN. We got a new FM signal for you on the coast, and check it out, HD2 Digital Clarity. Lakes region, we got you blanketed and covered. WEMJ, AM and FM. In addition to that, our 98.3 HD2 signal there, FM. And of course, WTPL 1077 FM, New England, worldwide. Hey, Google. Hey, Alexa, play the Pulse of an H. Our poll question up on X this morning, or will be shortly, at the Pulse of an H, and JDoc can give you results from yesterday. It has to do with the economy because it may all have to do with the economy going forward. Are you confident as a consumer? We're just trying to gauge local consumer confidence. Are you confident as a consumer in the economy? In other words, are you spending as much or not? And it's interesting. We'll come back to that. Motorcycle safety time of year. Welcome to May. We're going to hear from our friends of the New Hampshire State Police, brought to you by Auto Fair in a moment. And also, we're going to have our friends from New Hampshire Fish and Game in as we remember officers who have served. We got a lot going on and a packed show, so buckle up as we get going. And interesting after that dust up in the Oval Office. Remember all that? And there's quite a scene between President Trump and President Zelensky of the Ukraine with the Trump team there weeks or months ago now. And it didn't go too well, as you remember, it kind of blew up. And a lot of people made a lot of conclusions. Well, that deal did get signed for the mineral rights in Ukraine. Big deal, actually. And we'll see where it goes, if that is an impact on ending the war there. GDP, what is it? Well, it is the gross domestic product. It is it's the consumer. And I'm looking at some indicators in the economy that are not terribly encouraging this morning as we enter May. I'm an optimist, but one of the biggest things with the economy, we're going to hear, by the way, J-Dog, I forgot to mention, the end of this hour for a few moments, Doug Tengden is going to check in World Market Advisors on the economy. Oh, by the way, J-Dog, I want to come back to the poll before I get going too far in the economy yesterday. Okay. Give us the results from our poll question up on X. Let me know, buddy, when you have it. The economy, and I found this even in college at the University of Vermont when I studied some macro, micro, Keynesian, different economic courses. I liked economics, strangely enough. I could not stand math. I had to work hard at that, math and science, but I liked economics. But I think sometimes people intentionally confuse, and it's like our politics in Washington when they use all these terms like continuing resolution on spending, or all the legislative gobbledygook, and most people don't know, goes over their heads. But the economy, all these terms, you know what, money in, money out. I'll tell you right now, despite all the upside down nature of our economics today, the debt, which is crazy, and the subject of our contact politics this week with Mike Murphy talking about how out of control the debt is. And you better wake up on this stuff, because what I'm worried about is 7 years. So now all these people running for Congress and the next round coming up in midterms, why don't you ask them what they're going to do to save Social Security? Because in 7 years, you're going to take a 20% haircut on what your monthly benefits are, because that's how basically it starts becoming insolvent in 7 years because of the way Social Security is set up, money in, and also the cost of servicing our debt is becoming so incredible. It's it's almost a Pentagon budget just to pay the interest of America. We're getting to like World War II levels of our interest payments compared to our economy. And I'm trying to keep it simple. 7 years, Social Security. Have you heard of that? If you care about it, ask politicians what they're going to do to save it. Yeah. Yeah. And it was set up, of course, after all that with FDR and J-Dog, our poll questions from yesterday. Oh, yeah. And that 20%, they wanted that border to stay open, I guess. All right. Hey, our poll question up this morning, are you confident as a consumer? I asked that because despite all the complicated stuff that people try and throw at you, interest rates, you know, all the terms in the economy, when they have all these indicators, unemployment stuff, new stats on this, GDP, the most important thing still, despite all this gobbledygook, is you. Let me repeat that. You and me and us. Consumers are still the number one driver in our economy, despite all this trade stuff, but despite all the tariff debate, it's you, the consumer. You drive it still. Last time I checked, about 70% of our economy is based on consumer spending. You know, when things were wacko, I'm going to go back to Janet Yellen when they kept interest rates at about zero for so long. And because they didn't know what they were doing, they just kept them so low, and they were hoping that people were just going to keep on borrowing and spending. And then when things start slowing down, they get the people in power get mad at consumers for pulling back because they get nervous and they have to pull back less money. And then they say, well, would be doing better in the economy if consumers were spending more. So right now, what I'm acutely concerned about is consumer confidence. Consumer confidence. Are you confident as a consumer? And the things I look to are real estate, the weekend stores like Home Depot, Lowe's, the hardware store in town. Are people spending money on their homes? According to Laval and Middleton Building Supply, one of our great sponsors, Bob Jackman, the answer is yes. But restaurants, hospitality, that means restaurants, which are not cheap. It costs about $140, $150 to go out to dinner these days with a tip and maybe a drink or two for an adult cold beverage. But if you go to a restaurant and you get an appetizer, something to eat, it's about it's hard to get out of there for under 130, $140 for dinner, sometimes for lunch. So restaurants, hotels are not cheap. If you've traveled lately, and we're going into the prime season now, the summer in New England, from here to Maine, even a Comfort Inn, a Hampton Inn, probably $400 or $500 a night minimum, especially in places like Portsmouth and Portland or more. Some places in Maine on the coast or Portsmouth or downtown Portsmouth might be $600 a night. I don't know, but they're not cheap. Flying. So these are the indicators, and if people start pulling back on any of these things, they're not going out to eat as much. They're not traveling as much. They're not taking that vacation. They're not booking the hotel room. And these things start to hurt. They're not spending as much to remodel the house. They're not fixing up the kitchen this year. They're not going to do over the bathrooms. All this stuff collectively start. And what weighs on consumer confidence is what people are feeling and seeing. And truthfully, it does have to do with your monthly budget, but sometimes it's a psychological thing. And what I worry about with the tariff and the trade wars, yesterday, President Trump, or in the last day or two, saying, he defends the tariffs completely, but the White House, and he knows the economic news is, obviously they're trying to counter that, spin it as best they can, but be patient, be patient. I would say this in all due respect to President Trump: America's not a patient country, sir. You're not patient. We're not patient. We're very impatient. We're all impatient. We have no attention spans. We don't have a long-term view in this country. Other countries do. We don't. Everything's immediate self-gratification in America, for better or for worse. I think more of it's for worse, but we're a very impatient society. So with that said, consumers aren't going to be too patient. Now, what I'm also seeing is these trucking stories, the trucking stocks, the cutbacks on deliveries. So trucking is consumer delivery to your house. That's consumer confidence. So I worry about this a little bit. I think what it is that the uncertainty and the ups and downs have sort of paralyzed or frozen a lot of independent business owners who can't plan. They're having a hard time planning. When you can't plan, you kind of pull back. You can be, like a clam. You pull back into the shell. You can't plan. So I can't plan next month. I can't plan the July 4th holiday yet because I don't know what the economy is going to be doing. That kind of stuff eats into the consumer confidence. So I'm looking at all this and I'm a little concerned. And I've seen this in New England over the years, in this part of the country, in the Northeast. Usually when we talk about things slowing down, we're already there. Usually when we talk about like a recession or a mild recession or a reset, we're already there. Past administrations, they rewrote the definition. Remember that? Whoever measured recessions under the Biden-Harris administration a couple years in, they rewrote the rules. When I went back, speaking of economics, University of Vermont, 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. We just had one. 2 consecutive quarters is a recession. They changed it the last time around because unemployment was so low. What I worry about is when interest rates stay where they are on the higher side, they don't come down. Unemployment numbers start to come up. Then you have a thing that most people in Washington, number one, can't pronounce. Number two, they can't tell you what it means. Stagflation. That's worse than inflation. So that's with prices going up and a shrinking economy at the same time. So a lot of this isn't great, and a lot of it may be overdue. But the problem again with the tariffs might be the good right thing to do. But if it drives consumer confidence down, you're going to sort of self-impose a recession sooner than later. And the problem for the Trump administration is a recession in the midterms means Democrats will have a field day in states like New Hampshire that are more purple blue than purple red in the midterms. So, with all that said, I think there's a period here, not a long period, and I think the wild card is China. You just heard in our Fox News in our clip, the Treasury Secretary and the Trump administration and others are saying, and the Commerce Secretary, the President, China's the wild card. And China's trying to put countries in the world, sort of choosing between, you want to do business with us, China, or US? But we're going to make you choose. US is almost doing the same thing by raising the tariffs on China. So we're putting this trade war between China and the US. Now, I'd bet on the US in the long run because we're actually a healthier economy. China's economy is not good. The problem is Beijing doesn't care if their people suffer. In the communist regime, they could give a damn. We kind of want our people to, be doing better. So putting countries to choose between China and the US. Now, if US and China, I mean, if I was in the White House and I'm not, I'd be telling our folks, work on a deal with China fast because no offense to the European Union, no offense to Canada, you don't matter much at all. I'm just telling you, you really don't. China is the big player. China wants to be the big player. We're the big player. Get a deal done with China. Get some kind of deal with China. It's going to take a little bit because right now both sides have their backs up. But if you can get a deal with China sooner than later, it really could help unspin a lot of the negative perception of psychology, which affects consumer confidence. Some commentary on the economy, 603-228-2008. So we come back and tell you about motorcycle safety and a lot more right after this. Okay, we're coming back. Tracy, you're going to have to help me pronounce your last name.
Boravage.
All right, welcome back. We got a great segment. Beautiful weather. Welcome to May. That means we're going to see some changed traffic patterns. You're already seeing a lot more construction out there, paving, move over, slow down. That seems to be a problem for some people lately. A lot of people are driving very aggressively and distracted. But we have the commander in our New Hampshire State Police segment, brought to you by AutoFair, of the Special Enforcement Unit in our studios, Sergeant John LaPointe. Thank you for being here, Sergeant.
Thank you, sir.
And we have Tracy Beauregard. Close enough. Are you going to correct me on that? Really? That was close enough.
I thought it was pretty close.
Tracy B. Motorcycles Rights Organization, to talk about the upcoming New Hampshire Rides events. Of course, before you know it, it'll be Motorcycle Week. Biker safety, more people out. And when it gets, Sergeant, when it gets this nice early, we see different, we see patterns move quickly. It's staying light longer. People are going to be out there. They want to get out. They're pent up. Want to get out and enjoy the days. But more motorcycles. I think all drivers need to be aware. Correct?
Yeah, definitely. With the nicer weather moving in, everyone's seeing more and more bikes on the road. You can hear them all on the road. The other day, I was driving home at 7 o'clock at night. Still daylight. So you're seeing bikes out that late, enjoying the weather, finally warming up. We really just want to remind people that they're going to be out there. Keep an eye on your blind spots. Take the extra second to look for the motorcycles, and really just start remembering that there's more and more of them out there right now.
Sergeant, before we bring in Tracy, what's your role as the head of the commander of the Special Enforcement Unit and the Motorcycle Unit? Motorcycle Unit, I understand, because there'll be bikes out there as well. What's the your role?
In the Special Enforcement Unit, the main thing we do is monitor traffic by aircraft. We are using our plane, our Cessna 182, looking for the speeders, looking for their motorcycles that aren't obeying the laws out there, all over the state, different roadways, and trying to slow traffic down, keep the roadways safe out there.
Now, you just had a big initiative, I think, and a bunch of arrests. And now some of the numbers were mind-blowing to me. The number of people going over 100, over 90. I say on my own show, you don't have to say it. I can't believe being one of you, if you pull over a vehicle broad daylight or at night and the person's going 124 miles per hour and they actually say to you, I didn't realize it's going that fast. I'm like, okay, I got some oceanfront property for you in Ohio, but I wouldn't belong in the state police if I acted like that, right?
That's true. The speeds are on the rise for sure. We're putting it out there as much as we can. We're trying to get the public. We just ask them, keep aware of your speed. You really got to pay attention to it. Cars are faster now. They are faster. They're smoother. I would say 90% of the people that I come in contact with that are driving over 100 miles per hour, at least say they didn't realize their speed. They really didn't. They've lost track of it. They lost track of it. I believe most of them, to be honest. So it's really upon the driver. Take your own responsibility.
Sergeant, you're way too diplomatic. Come on, you're a nice person. You're a professional. The consummate. Come on. I've been driving a long time. I got a nice rig, and I got to tell you, when I get over 80, I sense it just in my head. I go, whoa, I got to slow down. If I'm going over 100, I think I'd know it. But anyway, Tracy, tell me about yourself.
So I'm the president of the New Hampshire Motorcycle Rights Organization, and I chair the New Hampshire Motorcycle Safety Task Force.
So you work close with the state police and all agencies out there for safety, more safety, right?
Absolutely.
How long have you been doing this?
This is my 8th year as president, and we started the task force right before COVID. So
before what? I forget that. It's a big blur to me. It's a big blur. It's a big blur to me. Yeah, it's a big blur. No, but what are your concerns working with the sergeant on safety? What do you think that's going to be different this year? Inevitably, you don't want to hear about any fatals at all. We just had one in the news this morning, I guess. Person was struck on the Everett Turnpike, but you don't want to hear about fatals at all. And we've had once too many, but we've, last year we had a lot. I think, was it well over 100? I forget the number. Yeah. But what are you worried about with motorcycle safety? What do you want to have happen ideally this year for both the motorcyclist and the other vehicles?
Well, Officer LaPointe, made the comment about the other vehicles with us. As a motorcyclist, what I want to say to the motorcyclist community is we have to be better. We have to ride smart, safely, mature, aware, respectfully, and trained. And seeing motorcyclists going 140, 150, 160 miles an hour is just unacceptable. There's a time and place for that. There are some incredible riders out there doing stunts, fabulous. What great skills they have, but you don't do them on the road.
Maybe New Hampshire Motor Speedway, except in one of the corners. Yeah.
And they need to be respectful of the other vehicles.
Right.
If we want other vehicles to be respectful of us, we need to be respectful on the roadways. And quite frankly, the last several years, fatalities for motorcyclists, we are actually killing ourselves more than other vehicles are doing that to us.
Wow. Yeah. So it's a more operator reason versus another
Impairment.
someone.
And if you're getting on two wheels, you need to be
Well,
more respectful about those two wheels.
And to the sergeant's point, vehicles are getting faster. So are motorcycles. They're being made better. They're being lighter. They're very fast, very quick thrust, and you can get up to 80 on a motorcycle real easy. Yeah.
But you would know if you're doing over 100 on a motorcycle.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know that.
Of course, the only reason my late mother, I got my way most of things in life. The only thing she said no to when I was a young kid, I wanted a motorcycle. She goes, your personality isn't good for that. I go, why? And she goes, you're too hyper, too fast. But the point is, there's not a lot of forgiveness when you're going 70 or 80 miles per hour on a motorcycle and you slide or fall versus a vehicle. If you have your seatbelt on, you might have a chance. Right? Yeah.
And we don't want to be considered vulnerable.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I ride. I take that responsibility, and I love it. It's a phenomenal feeling if you ride a motorcycle, and Trooper Point can tell you it's an incredible feeling. But you have to understand your capabilities with the speed side of it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of younger riders that are going into corners, exits and stuff way too fast. So you have to be aware of your own personal abilities with the motorcycle that you're riding.
Sure.
Yeah, I say that often. People, you need to ride within your abilities. Anyone can get on a bike with a motorcycle license, put that throttle on and go 100. It's not hard. It's making the corrections and stopping that really gets people. They don't realize how fast you're going until you go into a curve, take an exit,
Right.
and then they realize I'm going way too fast. Apply the brakes wrong, and now you have a crash. So
And it's split second, right?
split second.
Split second. Yeah.
And I mean, everyone drives the roads. Everything can be going fine. People need to anticipate a problem. You see people with their hands, one hand that you're drinking an iced coffee, the other one's holding the motorcycle, legs are up high. That person's not ready for a problem. They're not anticipating a problem.
Right.
Everything's fine until you come around.
Until there's a problem.
And traffic's backed up because of a crash, and now you're not ready to take action. So,
Right.
I always suggest people be alert, be aware, and try to anticipate.
And as much fun as it is, be defensive, right? Assume there's always going to.
You should be riding defensively
Oh.
all the time.
I have a boat. I'm that way as a mariner. Every time I go out there, I worry what's going to happen. Every time it's different. And that's the thing about on the road. You never know. Could be the same drive you do every day. And then one day there's a truck pulling out or a landscaper or something going on. Real quickly, rides are coming up. A lot coming up. Busy summer.
Yes, and tomorrow is our kickoff for New Hampshire Rides Day. May is Motorcycle Awareness Month. We will be at the state capitol. The governor, Kelly Ayotte, will be
Wow.
presenting the proclamation for May as Motorcycle Awareness Month at 11. So come down, join us. Make sure that you're there. There'll be media. Trooper LaPointe will be there with us, and we're going to have a demonstration by the state police too, which is unbelievably awesome. Like, I am a good rider, and I look at that and say, oh my God, I need to go back to class a lot.
Yeah, the troopers are pretty cool when they're out there. Real quickly, how many years doing the air?
I have been with the state police. I'm in year 23. I've been full-time with the special enforcement unit for the past 8 years. And I've been with the motorcycle unit for 18 or 19.
We didn't even talk about his abilities in the motorcycle. I'm thinking him in the air.
Incredible.
Yeah. You like what you do?
I do.
What do you like about it?
I say often I get
Wait a minute. That's kind of Jack. That's not a great question. What do you like about it? I can fly in an airplane and ride a motorcycle. I'm a state trooper. What do you? Of course,
Yeah.
I know what you like about it, but what do you recommend it to someone else getting into what you do for work?
I tell everyone, the motorcycle unit's my favorite. It's been my passion. Everyone individual know it. I started off real novice. I didn't know how to turn the Harley on when I started. Really worked hard over the years, and I've gotten pretty good at it over the years. So,
What about someone who's thinking of going into public safety? You recommend it?
I do. I mean, it's still a rewarding job. I mean, everyone knows we're down on people. We're looking for the right people to come to the state police, get hired, fill these spots. So there's more of us on the roadway trying to slow people down and keep everyone safe. It's a rewarding career. It really is.
All right, Sergeant, thank you so much. And Tracy, tomorrow, again, the who, what, when, where at the State House?
New Hampshire Rides Day, and we will be pulling in several of us motorcyclists. There's a lot that are working tomorrow, but 11 o'clock the governor will be giving the proclamation.
Awesome.
And
Right.
then
And
after that will be the demo by our incredible state police.
awesome. That's free and open to the public. Go check it out right in front of the State House. And of course, busy time of year. We have a lot more coming up. We'll get you back again as we get closer. And the other thing I'm going to say, being out there a lot on the road, is I am unimpressed but surprised. I think 8 or 9, 10 out of 10 people drive very responsibly overall. It's the one or two. And it's in the middle of the day. It's distracted. It's head down. It's not looking up. They're going 80 miles per hour. No one knows how to yield anymore. So they go into these traffic circles. And they just cut people off. They're very impatient. With all the construction going on, I love it when things. I don't love it when it goes down to one lane and then someone's trying to come in at the last second. They go right in front of you. This isn't Massachusetts, Route 128. Learn how to drive. But the thing too is, you meet these families where there's an accident, and the sergeant, you'll attest to this. It takes a second. You can ruin your life, your kid's life, a stranger's life, the rest of your life for what? For what? And when you see my smarter, prettier, better half went by an accident scene the other day. It was a terrible scene. It really shook her up, and she goes, "I've never seen that." I go, "Imagine doing that for a living. You pull up, it was avoidable, and there's a blanket over someone. They're not going home. They're not going home." So people got to wake up here and slow down and stop being so damn distracted. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, you said it better than I would.
Oh, okay.
And you just think about real quick. That could be your son or
Or
daughter or husband or wife.
y-
So put yourself in that
Yeah.
position, whether you're in a car or on a bike.
Yeah, a young person who'll never live their life because
Right.
someone drove irresponsibly. A 18-year-old, going to college, the world ahead of him or her, and all of a sudden, boom. Thank you both very much. Thank you. All right, State Police brought to you by AutoFair, Jason LaCroix and the team. We come back. We're going to meet one of our terrific, awesome presenters and sponsors for our less than a week from now, J-Dog, Wednesday coming up. We go 12 hours for our veterans of my 11th annual Make 12 Hours Count for Veterans Count, part of Easter Seals. We're going to say hi to our friends from Coca-Cola in the Northeast. They're a big part of this. They have been, and they're going to tell us why they are supporting our veterans. Hey, Google, hey, Alexa, play The Pulse of an Age. Back in a moment.
They were parking that black.
That Cherokee on it right now.
We're already back. All right, we're already back. Here we go. Busy time. We have guests in the studio, so wanted some pictures. Thank our friends at the State Police, brought to you by AutoFair. All right, hey, we are days away from our Make 12 Hours Count for Veterans Count. Let me set this up with one of our great sponsors and the friends, the team at Coca-Cola Northeast. They've been awesome. Susanna Smith, she's head of all the public affairs and communications. She's been a rock star supporting this. So, Susanna, thanks for being with us a little bit early. But you know what? I like this because it's going to tee up what we're doing next week. So you're not missing a thing, even though you're not going to be here.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here, and I like being called a rock star.
Well,
Thanks for that.
but what I mean is, you're there for this, and it's Northeast Delta Dental, it's FedPoint, it's Service Credit Unions, people like you. And I ask you this each year, but I'm going to ask you again. Why do supporting our New Hampshire veterans and their families? Why does it matter to Coca-Cola of Northern New England?
It matters because veterans have made sacrifices for our country, for our freedoms, and for that they have earned and they deserve our respect and gratitude and our recognition. And we just take it very seriously at Coke Northeast. We have a couple of hundred employees who have served, and we make sure that we recognize and celebrate them every year around Veterans Day as well. So it's programs like this. We appreciate what you guys are doing to raise funds and awareness around veterans and what they need. And we're just happy to be a small part of it.
You know, it'd be interesting, Susanna, you might know, each year when I interview our care coordinators and veterans before the show, just sort of pre-interview for next week, I ask them top problem this year versus last. And each year it changes a little bit. You think it would be constant, you know what I mean? You think it would be kind of the same, right? Navigating the VA system or having an advocate. No, this year, affordable housing, which really shouldn't be shocking. I've had more veterans say, Jack, I've been in a rental situation, fixed income, $1,800 a month. It just jumped to $3,000. What am I going to do? And the other one is mental health, anxiety, depression, and we don't really do a great job. So those are the key things this year. It probably doesn't surprise you on either front, right?
No, not at all. Actually, some of the other programs that we support are kind of with that mental health aspect. Just learning some of the statistics, suicide rates, divorce rates among veterans was really eye-opening to me. And that's why we got involved like with service dogs and therapy and that sort of thing with some other organizations.
That's a connection you and I've had when you just said that, the service dogs. Here's a great example for you, Susanna. We have plenty of time. I know you have a 10 o'clock up, but we'll get you out of here before. This is what irks me, and I'll be talking more about it on Wednesday. So I can count on more than two hands, veterans personally, where a service dog trained for emotional support and detection of triggers, a canine, a dog, has literally saved or improved their life dramatically. And you know what the veterans have told me is that when I go to the healthcare system, and I'll just leave that open, they want to give me a pill, medication. That may help sometimes, but one of them said a pill is not getting to what my emotional reasons are. A dog is. And you know what bugs me? And you support, I think, Hero Pups, or what have you supported?
It's called Guardian Angels.
Okay.
Medical Service Dogs.
Okay, I want to come back to that. Guardian Angels.
Medical Service Dogs.
Okay. We need to do more to help that, because that canine, that dog, works more to save a veteran's life than anything else, and it's not covered federally by any compensation. So we're not spending a penny if it wasn't for these nonprofits on canines. We should be getting a dog for every veteran who could use one for a service dog, but it costs 15 or 20 grand per dog sometimes. Well, tell me about. So tell me about the group you support and how that came to be.
So that came to be a couple of years ago. In my travels, had met General Bolduc. He was running for U.S. Senate at the time, and he has a dog. From this particular organization. So he made the introduction. We hit it off. I decided this is something that Coke Northeast should be involved in. So we decided to sponsor a puppy. She's 2 years old now. She's completed the training. She's in foster now, getting used to noisy situations, going to restaurants, airports, ball games, that sort of thing. And then she'll be paired with a veteran when she's ready.
It's amazing to go through this process. I mean, I have a buddy of mine who was up in Franconia Notch area. He was a Green Beret and a Night Stalker and had a real tough time adjusting. And not to bum people out, but we talked about Wednesday. He said, I woke up more days thinking the reasons not to end it than to live. And every day go in the woods. He goes, if it wasn't for my wife, and I go, I met him, I got to know him. I said, tell me about that. He goes, well, do you know what a night stalker is? I said, it sounds really cool, but no. They're an elite part of the U.S. Army Special Ops, where they are the silent craft of all our special teams, and they're trained to go in and out of everywhere. It could be a mountaintop in Afghanistan. It could be Somalia, SEAL team, Delta team, Night Stalkers. And he goes, a lot of time we have to clear the way. I go, what do you mean clear the way? He goes, we take out anything that's moving when they're coming in or out, anything. And a lot of times it could be an animal moving in the brush, or, a civilian in part of the country, but we can't risk it if they have a rocket launcher, and he goes, we kill a lot of people, and I can't live with that. So we got him a dog, and Dawson's his name, through the Navy SEAL Museum. Saved his life. He goes, honestly, I'm doing 80% better, and that's better than like I ever thought. And he has depression running in his family anyway. Yeah. Then you take PTSD on top of it. That dog has saved his life. What's that worth? That veteran's life. It's worth a lot, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. When I learned the fact that I think close to 30 to 35 veterans try to commit suicide daily in our country, and unfortunately about half of those succeed. The suicide rate among the veterans that these dogs have been paired with is 0.
And Veterans Count, we're supporting, and you're supporting Susanna Smith with Coca-Cola Northeast. Thank you, Susanna. The care coordinator programs, they've driven that number down, because a dog is great, but once you get a care coordinator with a veteran, what they've told me is they couldn't believe it when it began, but they said that coordinator was there for me for real. Like, I really had my back. So then they started to open up, whether they needed therapy or financial, marital. And here, Susanna, I'm being told by some experts, it's 1 in every 8 days. We don't hear about it. A veteran here will take his or her. And again, what bothers me is this radiothon we're doing, 12 hours that you're supporting the team at Coca-Cola Northeast. And thank you very much. It's the only 12-hour commercial broadcast in the country exclusively devoted for veterans. I mean, we've done great broadcasts and telethons in the media for famine relief, hurricane relief after Helene, muscular dystrophy, cancer, breast cancer, diabetes. All these things are very worthwhile, but there's really none. I've checked around the country. There's no 12-hour, and that's why Kelly, we're proclaiming the day that make 12 hours count. So real quickly before we let you go, how are things at Coca-Cola Northeast? How long have you been there?
Do I have to admit how long I've been there? 29 years.
Since
I was.
Yeah, there you go. I was going to say, wow, you must have started at 7. What do you like about it? What do you like about your mission there?
It's a great company to work for. I get to represent the greatest brands in the world. I work with awesome people, and just Coke Northeast is a great company to work for. We've got a great culture. We try to have a positive impact on the communities that we serve. It's just a wonderful place to work, and I have no reason why I'd ever want to leave.
And now you mentioned earlier at the beginning, how many veterans do you have?
I'm going to say probably 400.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you really go out of your way. So if a veteran's out there looking to join a team, do you recommend he or she, they contact you?
Absolutely. Go to our website at Coke Northeast. There's a careers page, and you can see all the available positions that are open. But veterans bring amazing leadership and technical skills to the workplace. So absolutely, I would encourage anyone out there listening to please apply.
Okay, so we have Kathleen Dillon in our studios. You work with Kathleen from the business side. Here's the toughest question you're going to be asked all day. You ready? And she's going to yell at me later. Can't believe you asked that and got political. Yeah, I'm going to ask you, but Kathleen will yell at me later. You ready? Here's a hard question. How much have Diet Coke sales gone up since the president got into the White House?
That's a really good question that I wish I could answer.
Can I tell you one funny story? It's just a great one because I have no secrets on my show. That's why I think it works. I think it. I say it. Former Governor Chris Sununu, who sat in that seat. J-Dog, when was it? You'll know the date. It's made news. It's still making news. Everyone thought he might run for the Senate again. And he came in that morning, said, I want to come on. He texted me Sunday afternoon. A lot of the other media was jealous, including WMUR, mad that he did it here. And we just started talking, and I asked him, so you're running for the Senate? And he says, no, I'm not. I'm not running for the Senate. And I met with the president this weekend in the Oval Office. He said it was really cool. I was hanging out there for a while. The way he's done the artwork, the declaration behind the protective glass, the president's, it's really cool. He said, because I was in there. His father was chief of staff for George Bush Sr. So as a kid, because I hung out, it was just really great. And Jack, I kind of like my Diet Coke. I don't know if you knew that. I go, yeah. He goes, there's really a button there. And the president said within the first 20 minutes, do you want a Diet Coke? And he presses the button.
It's funny. I was chatting with him at an event a couple of weeks ago. He told me that same story.
That was what he.
Coke Zero guy. He loves Coke Zero.
Well, pretty good to have a button there. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you very much.
And again, the website, if people want to follow up,
I'm sorry.
the website,
CokeNortheast.com.
All right, veterans, go to them. They have a culture there that supports you. A lot of companies, I'm going to say this, Suzanne, again, I'm in a lighter mood today, so I'm not getting yelled at. Kathleen will still yell at me. What bugs me about big corporations sometimes, I've worked with them, and we started a group to get veterans transition. They say they support veterans. They want to hire veterans. And then the HR people, you talk to the veteran, it comes down to them as civilian. And some people just aren't like you. They don't appreciate what veterans done. They don't appreciate their service and what they can do to a team, and they don't get hired. So when you have that many in your company, it tells me you have a culture that supports our veterans, because if you understand the veteran, they can do so much for your company, correct? Yeah. So thank you. All right. We're going to take a break. Hey, Google, hey, Alexa, with Pulse Vintage. Come back, update you on some of the other news talk. Fish and Game on the way in as well in the next hour. Back in a moment. You are.
you, Jack. Thank you.
Well, busy in studio show. Not all the time do we have guests in person, like nonstop this morning, but let's start it again. It's May 1st. Welcome. You are listening to Good Morning New Hampshire on the Pulse of an H. Jack Heath, J-Dog on the boards. But, really, it's so much beyond Good Morning New Hampshire now. I mean, we are up into Maine. We're in New England, northern New England, and our daily streaming numbers are into the thousands now. There are people listening right now. Tim and Linda in Spain in a cafe. Hope you're having a great trip on the Pulse of an H, just like it's next door. And you can get us the Pulse of an H. Download the app. It's easy to do. We have a ton of stuff going on. We have our new Pulse of our Pulse podcast our Pulse Podcast Network, PPN, we call it the Pulse of New Hampshire. We have our own podcast network where we have our local available 24/7 streaming anytime you want to listen, long format stuff. J-Dog's Bet This with CJ. It's a great sports podcast. He'll be with us at 11 o'clock this morning. Yeah, sports gambling, but Kentucky Derby weekend, J-Dog, and contact politics. But we have Dan Egan's 603, the outdoor adventure, on our podcast network. We have New Hampshire Business Review business podcast outside of but so we kind of make these podcasts locally available to you, because the problem with podcasting is just about everyone has a podcast, but they can't find the audience. The audience can't find the podcast. There's too many podcasts. Try and make it easy for you. The Pulse Podcast Network at the Pulse of an H. Check all that out. Make 12 hours count next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, talking to Susanna. We go 12 hours for our veterans. So all the stuff you need to find about us, we're there. And, a lot of times you can't remember your passwords for your accounts today, or your pins for your stuff, but we make it easy. There's only one pin, one password here, the Pulse of an H, for our poll question up on X, our downloads, our podcast, our pages, our apps, the Pulse of NH. And it was kind of funny. Think of what you want. When President Trump called in, I think it was the morning of our First in the Nation presidential primary, or after that, and sure, we'll hear from him again soon. He started off by saying, I love that. And he's a brand person. I love that Pulse of an H. You got the pulse. You got the Pulse of an H. It was hilarious. He went off for like 3 minutes doing a free promo. So I hope you're having a good start to May 1st. Hard to believe it is May 1st. Coming up, we're going to hear from our friends at New Hampshire Fish and Game. That time of year, people are out on the waterways now, the streams, the ocean, getting going. Motorcycles. We just had our segment brought to you by the State Police and Auto Fair. In the last segment, with our friends from the motorcycle enforcement side of things, as well as the riders, Tracy and her team there. They do a great job organizing stuff. And tomorrow at the State House, we just found out at 11, I think she said, Governor Ayotte's going to be out there. It's New Hampshire Motorcycle Day or whatever they're going to call it. But if you want to see something cool, the New Hampshire State Police motorcycle team, or motorcycle operators and drivers, of which our last guest, the sergeant's a member, going to be performing tomorrow at 11. If you have nothing else to do and you want to go to the Capitol, you haven't been there in a while, you can see the State Police motorcycle team tomorrow just before lunch in front of the State House. So there you have it, J-Dog. A lot going on, dog. A lot going on. I forgot about that. He doesn't need more coffee. Wow. Yeah, it is. So some key matchups last night, I guess, on the NBA side, some series ending, and on the NHL, Capitals ended the Montreal Canadiens season. I heard. You surprised on that one? Yeah. Wow. But let's hold on. I like the Blues. Come on. Let's hang in there. They can go to Game 7. Anything can happen. All right. Coming up, our friends from Fish and Game. Hey, Google. Hey, Alexa. Play the Pulse of an H. Back in a moment.